I've been getting a lot of requests about what it really feels like living in Cocoa Beach and Cape Canaveral. So in this video, I'm getting in the car and taking a cruise down A1A to give you a first-hand perspective from Port Canaveral to Patrick Space Force Base. So stick around. If this is your first time here, my name is Eric Larkin and I'm a real estate agent here on the Space Coast in Cocoa Beach, Florida. And besides doing regular videos like this one, I also help people buy and sell real estate. So if you have plans of making a move either into our area or you're moving away, I'd love to hear from you. You can call me, you can text me, you can comment below. But right now, let's get on with this drive down A1A. All right, for this video, we are coming in off of State Road 528 as if you're coming to the beaches from either the Orlando area, taking 528 all the way in, or coming in off I-95 and you're taking 528 and coming in. And we are just now crossing the Banana River. These exits coming up will take you around to some of the cruise terminals, like the Disney Cruise Line, for example, and it will also take you over to the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station if you take this exit here. Off to the left, you can see the boats in the marina, so you can dry storage your boats here. And there's also a boat ramp right there off of the north end or the west end of Port Canaveral. Off in the distance, you can see the two cranes. That's how they unload all of the cargo ships. And coming up kind of straight ahead, you can see the exploration tower, which when that's open gives you a fantastic view looking to the north and a panoramic view of Port Canaveral to the river and out to the ocean. As we cross this bridge here, we are officially turning from 528 into A1A. And this will, at the bottom of this bridge is Cape Canaveral, Florida. North end of Cape Canaveral, there are quite a few hotels on the left and right side of the street. There's also a few restaurants in this area too. If you like a cold beer, the Caribe Brewery has a tap room that's an awesome place to check out. Sometimes they have food trucks there. Otherwise, you can order food to be delivered to eat there as well. Most of A1A in Cape Canaveral is all commercial space, so there'll be either warehouses or office space or things of that nature. This section of A1A is actually called Astronaut, and here coming up is where Astronaut becomes North Atlantic Avenue, which is technically A1A. If you were to hang a left at this light that's coming up, that is Old North Atlantic Avenue, and that'll take you the back way to Port Canaveral and also to some of the condos and houses that are back that way. Now from this point forward for the next couple miles, we're entering what I like to refer to as President's Row, all starting from Washington Avenue through Wilson, I believe is the last president on the north end of town. Most of these streets will take you to public beach access points. That huge building there is the new Cape Canaveral City Hall, and in this area too is the Cape Canaveral Rec Center. So there's tennis courts, there is racquetball courts, shuffleboard courts, and that type of thing. So this is kind of interesting. The left side of the road is Cocoa Beach, which is unincorporated Cocoa Beach outside the city limits. The right side, the west side of the road, is the city of Cape Canaveral. And also on the west side, the right-hand side, if you're living in one of the condos there or the little residential section that happens to be on the water, you would be on the Banana River. Like this light here, Holman Road and McKinley. If you head west, it's Holman. Those are one of the two areas in Cape Canaveral where you could have a house that's also on the river. So we just passed on the right Casa del Sol, and the wall that you can kind of see there is Hidden Harbor. This is the official border right now as we pass Dunkin' Donuts into Cocoa Beach. So you're in the city limits here. Right hand side is Publix that we just passed. To the left, if you take any of these side streets back, that'll take you to the Cocoa Beach Pier area. So the streets to the right will take you to Venetian Way and some other communities that are running parallel to A1A. Right here is Banana River Drive. So there's houses that are back there that are on the river, or they could be dry lots. And the Banana River Drive is also a back road. If this section of A1A, as you're heading north, is kind of jammed up, you can go over to Banana River to kind of get around some of the traffic. If you head east, Ocean Beach Boulevard runs parallel to A1A, and that's another way of getting around traffic if it happens to be thick going either north or south. It just depends on the time of day and which direction you're going on, which would be the best route for you guys to go. This is a major intersection in Cocoa Beach we're coming up to. This is the 520 Causeway, and once we get to the 520 Causeway, it's one of the evacuation routes. So we came in off of 528 to begin this video. If you take 520 west, that'll take you to Merritt Island and eventually connect you to the mainland. If you head left, east, it ends at the beach with Allen Shepherd Park. This big building on the left is Ron John's Surf Shop. Big employer here in the Cocoa Beach area, and if you're visiting Cocoa Beach, more than likely you're going to pop in there to get a Ron John's t-shirt. This section here, I got Restaurants Row, basically from 520 to St. Lucie. There's a lot of restaurants and shops here on the west side of A1A. And I mentioned there's a lot of hotels in the area. We've got a couple here coming up on the left, including the Westgate Cocoa Beach that was formerly known as the Wakula. This is one of the few sections in Cocoa Beach where you don't have a beach access point just because of the way the condos are set up or the single family homes. So if you live near this section, basically between St. Lucie and Lori Wilson Park, you're gonna have to drive to one of the parks in order to get your beach access point. But if you notice on the left-hand side, the east side of A1A, there's a bike path that's continuous. This is an awesome place to go bike riding up and down A1A. This light here is Fisher Park. Every 4th of July, that's where the city of Cocoa Beach launches their fireworks. To the right is Publix. That's been a staple there since we've moved here in the early 80s. So this building on the left that we're passing right now is Cape Royals. It's an office suite, so they're office condominiums. On the southwest corner, the window is always red because it's a test company for a laser for fat reduction. So if you drive through Cocoa Beach, you could always see the red lights on. And I only mention that because everybody always asks, what's that red light and why is it always on? The greenery to the left is the beginning of Lori Wilson Park. So there's pavilions and beach access here. There's showers and restrooms. The green area there is a maritime hammock, so there should be trails through there, but it's kind of closed down. It got a little run down. The south side of Lori Wilson Park, there is a dog run. It's not on the beach. It's a separate dog run that you can take your pups to. This light coming up is Holiday Lane. And to the left, it's a walkable path. It used to be a city street that the city allowed the hotel to build around as long as you still have public access and you can go to the beach that way. To the right is Maritime Hammock Preserve, and that's another park. There's paths through there, and that's also part of the stormwater control. There's a couple lakes in there that the city steers the rainwaters to help control flooding. Cocoa Isles at that light is Stonewood Towers, which is the tallest condominium in Cocoa Beach. We're heading towards downtown Cocoa Beach right here, and you'll be noticing A1A is splitting. We'll have northbound and southbound A1A. Actually, if you're driving there, right there is Kelly Slater Park. You got a statue of Kelly Slater. He did grow up here in Cocoa Beach. So now we're heading south, still considered A1A, but this road is Orlando Avenue, and it runs from here at 4th Street North all the way through the south end of town to about 20th or 21st Street. So this section here from 4th Street to Minutemen Causeway is downtown Cocoa Beach. There are over 40 bars and restaurants in this 4-block stretch going from 4th Street North to 1st Street South. And they're along here on Orlando Avenue. They're on Atlantic Avenue to the east. And then to the west is Brevard Avenue that runs parallel to A1A. There are restaurants and bars along that way too. So on a nice weekend, this section of town always gets packed. People want to come to Minutemen Causeway because there is some happening bars and restaurants there, such as Coconuts, the Beach Shack, Hunker Down are all big bars that attract people, and the end of Minutemen Causeway is always packed if it's a nice weekend or a nice day to go to the beach. This intersection, this light here, this is Minutemen Causeway, so if you hang a left, you'll take you to Coconuts I just mentioned. If you hang a right, it's about a 2-mile long roadway that ends at the Cocoa Beach Country Club and Aquatic Center. They're definitely refurbishing downtown Cocoa Beach. They just completed the Cocoa Beach Police Department here at the end of 2021, maybe beginning of 2022. And over the last few years, they've redone the fire department and gave us a parking garage. Next on the slate is updating City Hall. Now that we're in South Cocoa Beach, all of these streets here to the left will take you to public beach access. This is all residential along this section of Orlando Avenue. So you have houses, condos, townhomes, maybe some apartments. The beaches at this end of town are a little less crowded as they are like near Minutemen Causeway or near the Cocoa Beach Pier. And there's sidewalks on both sides of the road here off of Orlando Avenue in South Cocoa Beach, and also the next block east, which is northbound A1A. There's sidewalks along there too. So again, you can go bike riding or running for quite some time. Ramp Road's a cool place to drop your kayak. There's a boat ramp there as well, so if you have a bigger boat, you can certainly launch and access the Banana River. But if you go kayaking there is the mangrove tunnels to go and explore, and it's just fun kayaking through our 1,000 islands here in South Cocoa Beach. Speed limit along A1A pretty much through all of Cape Canaveral and Cocoa Beach is 35 miles an hour. And if you are driving here South Cocoa Beach, please be aware of the speed limit because the Cocoa Beach Police Department likes to hang out and remind you with a ticket that the speed limit's 35 miles an hour. I see people get pulled over every day, so be mindful of your speed as you're heading through A1A and Cocoa Beach. Just to give you a landmarker where we're at, we're coming up, the next street to our left is 15th Street South. And as we're getting to the south end of town here, A1A is going to come back together. This is actually the skinniest section of Cocoa Beach. Its widest point, like near Minutemen Causeway or 4th Street North and 4th Street South. The width from ocean to river is over a mile, mile and a half, maybe 2 miles in certain areas. But as A1A merges back to Orlando, becomes part of North Atlantic Avenue again right here. The distance from the river to the right to the ocean to the left is about 800, 900 feet. It's definitely a skinny little strip of land, and if you pull it up on Google Maps or an aerial view, you'll be able to see it, which is kind of cool. You could be living on the river, and a short walk, you could have your toes in the sand and on the beach. Some of the condos here on the east side that are oceanfront, there's also a section that's on the riverfront as well, so you could actually have a boat at your condo and also be at the beach. And if you want to go to a section of beach that's definitely secluded down here at the south end of town, parking is very limited. So there's not, unless you live here, there's not many beach access points, and the parking is limited on the few streets that you do have beach access to. All right, the very south end of town is Patrick Space Force Base. It's also Space Launch Delta 45, which is responsible for the launch range at the Space Center. Even though A1A is controlled by the Department of Transportation, we are on Patrick, so the military police do help control this area too. They do not like when you fly kites or fly drones in this area because this is an active military base. There are planes doing touch and goes and landing, coming and going throughout the day and throughout the week. There are some beach access points. We past the picnic tables at the very north end of Patrick, and we're coming up here on the left is Blockhouse Beach. So this is a big parking area if you want to go hang out here. This is like my surf check or my space I pull into on my way home if I need to answer some phone calls or look at some emails and I want to do it here while I'm on the road before I get home. I usually pull into there so I can peek at the ocean, check out some waves, and also return some phone calls. Depending on the time of year, like right now we're in turtle season, and if you walk this stretch of beach at night, there's a good probability of you possibly seeing a turtle. This is where I've seen more turtles this year at the Patrick area. And it's a cool place to kind of hang out if you want to see the stars at night, because on the west side there's definitely lights with the Patrick, but on the east side there's no buildings on the east side of the road, so it gets pretty dark at night and you can see a lot of stars if that's your thing. This next beach access point is called Hangers Beach. It's no longer there on the west side, but it used to be a huge aircraft hangar right there near A1A, and that's why it got its name, Hangers Beach. A little fun fact about Hangers Beach, way back in the 80s when we had the Challenger accident, inside that hangar is where they kind of assembled the pieces of the Challenger to reassemble and try to figure out what had happened to the space shuttle. They did a lot of that holding and collecting there at that particular point. And if you happen to go to any of these beach access points in Patrick, whether it's Blockhouse, Tables, Second Light, or the Pineda one, you'll see the corrugated metal that's used for the beach marker. That metal, it's rumored to come from the actual hangars that used to be there at Hangers Beach. Kind of cool. Right to the left, Pineda Beach Park. It's a tiny little parking spot. There's a lot of overflow parking that happens along A1A on nice beach days. And these lights coming up is Pineda Causeway. This will be my turnaround point. If you hang a right, that'll take you to the mainland and also connect you all the way to I-95. And here was a quick turnaround. So again, hang a left, that's Pineda. And we are heading north on A1A back to Cocoa Beach, just so you can see a little different perspective because of the way I had the camera set up on the front of my truck. Now, speed limit as you're driving through Patrick Space Force Base is, I believe it's 45. Yeah, it is 45 through this section and the very south end of Cocoa Beach. So you could step on the gas a little bit more so here. But remember, once you get back to Cocoa Beach where A1A splits by that triangle chevron, it actually goes back to 35 just before then. And it's not uncommon to see a police officer there reminding you what the speed limit is with a ticket. You can see some of the base housing here on the left inside Patrick. This entrance there on the left, that's if you're going on base with a big vehicle. So if you are military personnel and you have a camper, an RV, or a bigger truck, that's how you go through so you can get through security and clearance. If you are moving, that's where the moving trucks have to go through. That's where the supply trucks have to go to for the commissary, like any big deliveries happening through Patrick have to go through there. Not that you can really see it, but this is like a parallel view of the runway. So it is kind of neat when planes are either taking off or approaching or even doing their touch and goes to kind of hang out here and see what's going on. This is the hangar's beach area. Depending on what's doing the touch and goes, I'll hang out there with my camera to see what's coming and going. And sometimes if we have planes that are visiting here, like A-10s or the F-22 or F-35s, they will park them, stage them there by where the old hangars used to be. So you get a pretty cool view if the building's not blocking it. Kind of off in the distance, you can see the normal cargo planes that are here, and occasionally you see a Black Hawk stationed out there as well. And that's typical what we see here at Patrick are a variety of cargo planes or helicopters coming and going, unless we get that occasional visitor, such as the A-10 or F-35. There's the main gate. So if you do go to Blockhouse Beach to hang out, you got parking right there that's oceanfront, and they also have overflow parking here on the west side of A1A, so that's kind of cool. You're still got good parking here near the beach, and there is a light and a crosswalk right here to make it easier to get across A1A. We got some more base housing here at the north end of Patrick Space Force Base. And if you do live close enough to Patrick, you can hear when a storm's approaching. They have sirens to let you know if there's lightning that's striking in the area. In the morning they do revelry, and in the evening they do play, I'm pretty certain it's taps, but they do play something to let all the base members personnel know that it's the end of business day. And we are back in South Cocoa Beach. This is unincorporated Cocoa Beach, so it's county as opposed to being within the city limits. And once we pass Merschke Park, which we'll get to, which is 16th Street, that's where the city limits of Cocoa Beach begin. But right now we're still on South A1A. There are some businesses and restaurants in the area, like Love Taco City, which we had just passed. And down at this end of town is also where the Fat Snook's at. Just as A1A splits, on the left on the river is some new construction. It's Lorem Village. These are villa-style 3-story homes that all come with boat slips and river access. All right, we're back on the split of A1A. So every street that you see on our right on the east side of the road, those are all public beach access points. That's one thing I love about Cocoa Beach, is there's a lot of ways for you to get to the beach. Most of them from once we pass 16th Street, which is Merschke Park. From that point forward, there is parking at the end of all these streets. It is metered parking, so if you're a resident of Cocoa Beach, you can get an annual parking pass for 20 bucks, and that allows you to park at any of the metered spots here at the beach access points. Otherwise, it's $3.50 an hour and you pay by an app. And instructions on how to do that is at every beach access point. Cool thing though, Merschke Park that I mentioned, which is at 16th Street South, that's a county park, so it's free to park there. And coming up to 13th Street Surf Beach, there's a section there right along A1A that looks like a bus stop that is actually a park that has free parking. So that's another section in South Cocoa Beach that's pretty cool to know about. You can see the sidewalks here on the left side, the west side of Atlantic. That's more of like a sidewalk, and the ones that are on the east side are a wider path, so it's kind of good for riding your bike. And if you look on both north and southbound on the outside lanes, so this would be to our right, there is a bike path on the road, so if you have like a street bike that you're pedaling a little faster than what a sidewalk would allow, then you could ride along the street there. Big church coming up is definitely a landmark here in South Cocoa Beach. In 2005 or 2006, when the storms came through, the steeple actually got broken off and it went through the roof. It was quite the sight to see. Also South Cocoa Beach, from 4th Street South to 15th Street South, is dog-friendly beach. So if you want to bring your pup to the beach, you're legally allowed to do it. Just be aware that it's before 9 a.m. or after 5 p.m. 7 days a week. They don't want your dogs on the beach during peak beach hours, which is also the hottest time of the day, where you don't want to get your dog's paws burnt. But bring them early morning or late afternoon and let them swim in the ocean. But remember, it's a dog beach, not a dog park. You need to keep your dog on a leash, and please pick up after your pup if they happen to leave a mess. So we got a little new construction that's happening here on the left. These 3-story buildings are similar, same builder as what's building Lorem Village at the south end of town, so you have an idea of what they'll look like. This is the beginning of downtown from the south side. This is 1st Street. You can see the nice mural welcoming you to Cocoa Beach there on the left. We're coming up to Minuteman Causeway, which on your right is getting to Coconuts, Beach Shack, Hunker Down. If you hang to your left, that's where the VFW is, and also City Hall, that type of thing. Can't really see in this shot, but on the right is the Surf Condominium, brand new construction that the Dureau brothers are building. Howie D used to be in Backstreet Boys, and he is now a developer with his brother, and they build condos here throughout Florida. And that's one of many that they have here in Brevard County. Looking forward to seeing the finished product. So here this stretch, we're heading from Minuteman Causeway. We just passed to 4th Street North. Remember, this is the area where it's dubbed sometimes Bermuda Triangle because of how many bars and restaurants are in this area. This is a great place to stroll and try to find a place to eat. Something to remember about us beachside is all the restaurants except for the fast food chains are all mom and pop style restaurants, so they're unique and one of a kind. And as we're coming to A1A merging back together at the triangle at the north end, this is the Kelly Slater Park. This is ending our drive through Cocoa Beach, and I appreciate you coming through for the ride. And you stuck around this long, you probably like what you're hearing. If you haven't done so already, you should consider hitting that subscribe button that's popping up right now. Plus, I'm queuing up 2 more videos for you to watch next. My name's Eric Larkin with Real Brokers here on the Space Coast. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see ya on the next show.